Welcome into another episode of Jacked Up with yours truly, Jack Hillgrove, highlighting three area baseball teams out of the district bracket, district champions into the regional round starting on Thursday. First in Division II, a matchup you'll be able to watch live on Fox 9 this Thursday and live streaming on all of these WTOV 9 digital platforms. In Division II, Indian Creek in St. Clairsville in a Division II Region 7 semifinal, previewing that matchup and previewing pretty much everything else as far as the regional baseball round is concerned. First up with the Creek's baseball coach, Mike Gaudis. Coach, thanks for taking a couple of minutes. And of course, congratulations on the run you guys have had to this point. If you could, to the best of your ability to just summarize the run that you guys have made to this point in the season, how would you best summarize it?
It's been a great ride with a great group of young men, and the leadership from our seniors has really gotten us to where we are right now, and can't say enough about them. But we play a really tough schedule. I think prepares us for this type of situation.
Yeah, absolutely. And we'll rewind a little bit. You talk about tough games and playing a tough schedule to prepare you for those big moments. It doesn't get much bigger than a 1-0 game in a district final. Just walk us through that matchup with Tri-Valley, kind of how it unfolded, and ultimately holding on to win by the lowest score possible.
Yeah, it was pretty gut-wrenching to say the least. The performance that Sal Barcalow put on the mound, not just him, not the fact that he was pounding his own and throwing strikes, but he was making some great plays coming off of the mound. Anybody who got to watch it saw we had a big pickoff in the first inning. Our catcher Hunter Rusnak threw out a would-be base stealer in that first inning. We were able to have a bases loaded jam later on. Fielding a potential squeeze and getting a runner out coming home from third. Just some really big plays that showed a lot of poise on our part.
Yeah, you talk about pitching. I mean, Sal has given you good starts, given you great relief appearances throughout the season as well. Silas Hyde's a guy that you lean to a lot on the mound. Talk about the pitching that you guys have put forth this year and how that's helped your guys' success.
Yeah, we've been really fortunate. Silas Hyde has been, he's only a sophomore. He's a nice lefty. He's thrown in some big games for us, and he's the type of kid who pounds the zone and has some strikeout stuff. And like you said, Sal, we've used him in every way possible, and he's done a great job. And we have another sophomore, Gavin Pinnell, who is our shortstop and comes out of the bullpen, so to speak, to really shut the door on some teams for us. So we've had some big performances from young guys.
And the road to this point, I mean, a couple of hard-fought games in sectional finals, district semis, a 5-4 win over Carrollton. What was it? 3-0 in the first round against Riverview. Playing in tough baseball games and tight-knit baseball games, especially in Ohio, where it's one and done. You got to win to move on. How much does that, and coming out of those ball games with victories, display really the toughness and the grittiness of your squad this year?
We had one of our local coaches, who's a great friend of mine. We grew up together. A text he sent me after our game against Carrollton is he said how tough our kids are. And that's a huge compliment coming from him and a testament again to the work ethic that these boys have. But yeah, 3-0, a 5-4, now a 1-0 game. They got the guts to pull these types of games off. And like I said, I think our schedule prepared us for that.
Yeah, absolutely. And you look at, up and down the lineup and offensively, some of the guys that you've leaned on in big moments to get you big hits and big runs. I mean, talk about, just the contributors you guys have had on offense and what they've done for you as well. I know a guy like Ty Householder at the top of your lineup is a guy that pops into my head, but the Pinnell brothers as well. So how would you best summarize the offensive output you guys have had this year and some of your key contributors in that regard?
Yeah, Ty Householder is a great table setter for us. We started off with him hitting third earlier in the year, and we thought, we need to get one of our best batters up as many times as possible. So we moved him to leadoff, and it's really provided a spark for us. Like you said, the Pinnell brothers, an unsung hero in the lineup is a sophomore catcher named Hunter Rusnak. Silas Hyde has been hitting the ball well for us. Nicky Maurer, another senior who when he gets on base, he's just dangerous as fast as he is. The bottom line is the difference between now and earlier in the year is we struggled earlier in the year getting timely hitting, and we've done a really good job of that lately with guys on second, 2 outs, 2 strikes on a hitter, and we'll come up with a big hit. So that's been a huge difference maker for us.
Yeah, and you guys too. I mean, you go up and down the roster. Obviously, some contributions from seniors and at the top of the roster, stuff like that. But also, you guys have had big time moments from guys that'll be back next year and be back for a couple of other years as well. So, what's it been like? And you've been doing this a long time, 20 plus years, to be able to lean on upperclassmen in big moments, but also get your underclassmen groomed and ready to go for situations like that as well. Really, just kind of tying it all together.
Yeah, actually, I was talking to one of my assistants today, and we were talking about a few guys, and we made the I made the comment that we forget sometimes that this kid's a freshman or this kid's a sophomore. At this point in the year, they're playing like juniors and seniors, and it's a huge learning curve for them coming out of Pony League or wherever they played before, and seeing 17 and 18-year-old arms thrown at them. But they've done a great job, and the youth that we have mixed with our 2 seniors has been a really good mix. They look up to Landon and Nikki Maurer as leaders, and these guys, I look forward to what they're going to do in the future.
Yeah, and before we get into who you guys are facing off against, it's a opponent you're very familiar with, especially this year. I know after the district final win, you talked about how you've been in that game a bunch of times, and it's obviously good to get over the hump and win that game. But how do you put the emotions and the excitement of that aside, being district champs, and saying, look, we still got more ball to play, and we have bigger aspirations than maybe what we just accomplished?
That was one of the things that Landon Pinnell said after we were done celebrating at Buckeye Trails Field. The first thing he said was, "Hey, fellas, we still got work to do," and St. Clairsville is a fantastic program. Tom Sleva does a great job with them. We're good friends. I can't say enough about what they do. It's turned into a really good rivalry on the baseball field, and we know they're very talented. I believe they have 6 seniors, and they all contribute in a positive way. So it's a tough task for us, but we're really looking forward to the battle.
And you're definitely familiar, again, with the program, and especially this squad this year. It'll be the 4th time that you guys have played St. Clairsville, most recently falling in the OVAC 4A final. Again, 4th time, but you're 0 for 3 against them. So for you and maybe the players, does that add a little bit of extra motivation, not just to advance in this regional tournament, but like, hey, we feel like we can get these guys and we haven't done it yet?
Yeah, I think it does add a little extra motivation. The 3 games, the scores may not indicate how close they were. The one game at our place was a 3-0 game. Saunders for them threw an absolute gem. And then the OVAC finals, we saw Saunders again, and we were able to put some runs together against them. The bottom line is we can't walk guys. They're too potent on offense to give them extra base runners. So, we have to be on our A game from the pitching aspect and not give them extra base runners. Play the defense that we're capable of doing, and we got a real good shot.
Yeah, and the last question I'll have for you, I mean, obviously, you got to put everything aside and focus on the task at hand and get the job done. But with it being 2 OVAC teams, 2 Ohio Valley teams at Harrison Central, a neutral site enough location for there to be a big enough crowd there to get, a really cool atmosphere. Plus, we're coming and we're doing the game live. What kind of vibe, what kind of atmosphere are you expecting? And how do you kind of, tell the guys, hey, we just got to put it all aside and play our game?
Yeah, it's just another game in the whole grand scheme of things. We have to go with that mindset that we're going to do what we've been doing since we were 8 years old, and we just started lacing up the cleats. Go out and play our game, and we got to block out the outside distractions. We know it's going to be a big crowd, but I think that's a little extra motivation to go out and play the best game we can.
Mike Cottis, Indian Creek baseball coach, getting set for a regional semi matchup against St. Clairsville. Again, you can watch it live on Fox 9 this Thursday, May the 30th, 5 o'clock on Fox 9, and live streaming on all the WTOV 9 digital platforms as well. Coach, thanks for taking a couple of minutes. And again, good luck on Thursday.
Thank you. Appreciate all you guys do. Thank you.
Well, the district or the regional semi preview continues here on Jacked Up. Pleased to be joined by Division II regional semifinalist and head coach of the St. Clairsville Red Devils, Tom Sleva. Coach, first of all, congratulations on a fantastic run so far, 26-3. Talk to me a little bit about your season. Only 3 losses, 2 of those 3 losses by 2 runs or fewer. So really, what's worked for you guys so far this year?
Well, first of all, thanks for having me. Good senior leadership. We've had great senior leadership this year, and all 3 phases of the game have come together. We've pitched it well, hit it well, and fielded it well at different times, never on the same night, but usually we're able to get 2 of those 3, and it's helped us get some victories.
Yeah, and you mentioned it, pitching it well. 2 guys in Hunter Hoffman and Brody Saunders that have been really good for you all season. I mean, Brody with a pair of no-hitters, I believe. Just from the pitching side of things, how much has that helped you guys down this stretch and to the point where you've ultimately made it to?
Well, obviously, that's an important factor. What those guys do is they fill it up, throw strikes, and then it keeps the defense on their toes and keeps them in the game. And we've been able to, fortunately play good defense so far behind them. And, those guys, again, filling it up and making the hitters put it in play. And it's been successful.
Offensively, I believe most of the top 4 of your pretty consistent lineup is already signed on to play baseball at the next level. One of those guys going to the Division I route, and Braylon Bloomquist. Just, what is this group senior wise? I mean, you said a tremendous senior leadership, but their ultimate talents. I mean, what is it is it all kind of culminated into a really fantastic season and just overall what they've been able to accomplish throughout their careers?
Yes, these guys have all had experience at the freshman level. They've all, those 4 gentlemen, and then the other 5th senior, Caleb Keenan, has played a lot. But those 4 have started at the freshman level and worked their way up through, and they've gained a lot of experience. They put a lot of time into it, a lot of work into it, and, hopefully it pays off.
And for you guys, just kind of talking about the road here, OVAC 4A champs, and then you get into tournament play, a 2-0 win in the sectional semis against Buckeye Local. Now, I know you got a good outing there from one of your really good pitchers, but talk to me a little bit about that game and having to win a close one early on in a Ohio postseason where if you don't win, you're done. It's single elimination.
Yeah, Ohio postseason baseball is very tough every year. Every game's tough. It seems like every season when you make a run through the tournament, you have a tough one. Buckeye Local's well coached. Their pitcher was really on that night. We struggled to put balls in play, and fortunately, we put enough in play to get a W.
Yeah, Brody Saunders, a 3-walk, 11 strikeout, no hitter, helping get it done as well. And then you're able to come back in a district semi, a win over West Holmes, and then ultimately the co-final victory in the East District in Division II over New Philadelphia 5-1. So in those 2 matchups, able to put runs on the board enough that gets it done on most nights, but 1-run performances from the opposition. So what kind of, I guess my question is, what kind of played into it more, the offense being able to get you some run production, or just, good defense and keeping runs off the board?
Well, I definitely think it was a combination. Like I said, the guys are throwing well and making them put balls in play, not walking guys. And the defenses showed up, and we were able to scratch off enough runs to be victorious. And hopefully those things continue to work together. I think you've got to have all of them. And now you're running up really good opponents. You're seeing really good pitching, and you have to make it. You have to make it count when you get guys on base and take advantage of it. And hopefully the guys on the mound keep you in the game.
And you've had success and you've been at this a long time. So how quickly does the mindset for the group have to change going from celebrating a district championship? You get the trophy, the medal, all that good stuff, but the job's not done. I mean, you guys have, I'm sure, bigger aspirations, and you got to turn it around and get ready for regional play. So how quickly do you have to flip the switch and really get ready to play more baseball?
Very quickly, we flipped the switch in the huddle after the game. I think all teams at this level now are shooting for that goal of going to the state and then winning it all. So, if you want that as your goal, you got to be able to turn it on and get ready to go, moving on the very next day, and have focus on your next goal.
And for you guys, the next goal is a win over Indian Creek, who you have seen now. This will be for the fourth time this season, most recently in the OVAC championship a couple of weeks ago. Mike Cottis, like yourself, has done this a very long time. You guys, I'm sure, very familiar with one another, not just being in OVAC foes, but Buckeye 8 opponents as well. What do you know about this group? I mean, I'm sure a lot after seeing them 3 times this year, 3 victories, but what do they bring to the table, and what kind of matchup are you expecting Thursday at Harrison Central?
Oh, yeah, I'm sure it's going to be a great game. I've known Mike for a long time, and his staff with his brother and the staff, has been together for a long time. They do a great job. Their team is well coached. They hit it well. They field it well. They throw it well. They have quality arms in all positions. They have quality arms in the outfield, quality arm behind the plate. They're a tall task. They're a very, very good baseball team. That's why they're in the regionals.
On Saturday, May 4th, you guys win 9-4, a 3-0 win over them at their place, and you beat them 9-5 as well. What do you guys have to do to get it done? It's a couple of keys to victory to ultimately get to, a regional final in Athens and keep the thing going for you guys.
Well, hopefully our guys stay hungry. Hopefully we don't let those 3 wins make us think that the 4th game has decided, which we know obviously it is not. And I think our guys understand that. We got to go do it again. We have to produce again. I know how fired up they're going to be, and we have to come with that same energy, and meet their energy, and hopefully come out on top.
I'm sure it might be hard to compare teams of past that you've had. I mean, you've been doing this a long time, 400 plus career wins, district Hall of Fame, and you've been to this point in your career as the head coach as well. So how does this group maybe compare to some of the ones that you've had in the past? And I know some of these guys might have older siblings that have been on some big time teams for you as well. So does that maybe help them kind of understand the idea of what's at stake here?
They do. We have some, and I think what helps is that these guys understand what our goal is each in the beginning of each and every year. And this team's no different than the others. They love the game. They come every day to get better, and they want to succeed. They want to go as far as they can, and when they step on the field, they want to and expect to come out with a W.
For you guys to be able to play this game, obviously with the way that the bracket shakes out, 2 brackets in the East District, co-East champs play each other. It works out for you guys to be able to play this game at a pretty neutral site in Harrison Central against Indian Creek. Should allow for big crowds on both sides, a heavy contingent from Belmont County and Jefferson County to be at this game. As far as the atmosphere goes, we're coming to do the game live and broadcast it live. What does that kind of do for the moment as well? And how do you keep your guys grounded and say, look, there might be a lot of noise going on around us with the crowd and with the TV, but we got to keep the eye on the prize.
Yeah, we talk about that. All big games have a little bit of that in some way or another. And, we've been fortunate to play our first 2 tournament games on that field. And, we're familiar with it. We're familiar with our opponent, and our guys just got to stay focused, stay hungry. And, they understand what's at stake, and they just got to understand that they have to do that, again. And, once again, with it being a great atmosphere and everything, it'll add some energy, but they know they have a job to do and they need to stay focused.
And the last question I have for you, this is something that I asked DJ Butler at Barnesville. They're getting ready to take on a regional semi in Division 3. Between them, you guys, and Indian Creek, this is 3 OVAC, Ohio Valley programs that have had success in years past that have been to this level. Now, all 3 of you at the same time or to this point. What does it mean for, our Ohio Valley, our area to have several baseball teams to this point in the postseason? And DJ also said too, as they become into the Buckeye 8 fold in the future, that's makes for pretty darn good conference play in the Buckeye 8 for years to come as well.
Well, I think it says a lot for our area. We've talked as coaches. I think Eastern District baseball is very strong as it gets statewide. I think our Eastern District shows up and have had several teams over many years go on and make state tournaments and win state tournaments and be part of state tournaments. And there's been some very quality programs that have done that from Toronto and Steubenville, and I don't want to leave anybody out, but all the teams that that have gone on and make a run. So I think our Eastern District stacks up very well with the rest of the state.
Yeah, Harrison Central, one game away from winning the
Harrison
whole thing
Central.
last year.
Yeah,
It
Harrison Central is runner up.
Yeah, absolutely. So hopefully one of our teams this year can get it done. Tom, thanks for taking a couple of minutes and talking with us. St. C, Indian Creek, Thursday at Harrison Central, live on Fox 9 and all the WTOV 9 digital platforms. So once again, Coach, thanks for taking some time and good luck on Thursday.
Thank you very much. Thanks for having me.
Weekend in Division 3, the Barnesville Shamrocks, fresh off of a district finals win over Sandy Valley 10-6, joined by the Rocks head coach DJ Butler. And coach, first of all, congratulations on a district final, another district final, and getting back to the state tournament. I'm sure for you guys, it's got to feel pretty darn good.
Yeah, anytime you can win a district, especially I think Division 3 in our district's really hard. So anytime you can advance to where we have, it's a huge accomplishment.
Absolutely. And for you guys, one of the things I asked you about after the win was, your senior class, a big time performance out of Reese Steven, 4 RBI, Tayson Starr with a couple of big hits as well. Those guys have been coming up clutch for you all year, and they were freshmen the last time you guys made it this far in your season. So for them to see that as freshmen and for that to stew with them for a couple of years and ultimately get to this point, how beneficial do you think that was for them and in their development in your program?
Well, they've been a tremendous part of the program for years. Also with Duker Costello, Aiden Van Horn, Jackson Wiley, they were all at least dressing as freshmen or contributing in some way. And we talked about it afterwards, and they had said that they thought being there as freshmen was a big key to helping them get past. I mean, Garraway was a difficult game. Buckeye Trail was difficult. Sandy, was a difficult game. Help them just kind of adapt to what was going on and being able to handle the pressure of the situations.
Yeah, you talked about those first 2 games in the district bracket, Buckeye Trail sectional final, Garraway, both 2-run games, low scoring. What was the mindset? What were you trying to tell your guys in those first 2 games to kind of keep the eye on the prize, so to speak, and ultimately get to where you guys are now? Because in low scoring ball games like that, they can sometimes go either way.
Yeah, it kind of reflected back too on when we made it the last time in our regional game. We went 12 innings, 1-run game with Fredericktown. And the kids, even as we would come off the field, had alluded to it. Just keep playing, we'll get there. And it took it. Garraway, Duker Costello stepped up big, said, Coach, I'm getting on first, I'm going to steal second, and I'm going to score. And it was Reese who drove him in. So it was 2 seniors in big spots who got us to that point to get tied in Garraway and then eventually get a couple runs to put us ahead.
Yeah, and then the district final at Connaughton Valley against Sandy Valley, a 10-6 victory. It ended up being, pretty dominating in the latter half of the game towards in your guys' fashion, but they got on the board first. And that's one of the things that you and I talked about after the game. What was the mindset for you guys, once they jumped on you relatively early to, ultimately get back in this one?
Just to not panic. Looking, it was, there's still 4 or 5 innings left at the time they scored, and knowing that we had the offense capable of getting, a 3-4 run inning, getting back into it and answering with 2 runs right away when they jumped out ahead was a big confidence booster for them going forward.
And as you guys get set for regional action, first time, I believe, since 2021, Minford, a matchup you guys are familiar with. You guys saw them in the last time you guys made it to this point. So what do you know about the program is the first part of the question, and what kind of matchup do you expect on Thursday?
They have a lot of trips to the regional. Between them and Wheelersburg, they have dominated that region for a really long time. So they've got a rich baseball tradition, that once or getting there is not enough for them. They expect to win. So we're going to have to play really well to get there. As far as what we know about them this year, we went down and watched them in their district semifinal game at Chillicothe. And they're a good team. They didn't make mistakes. They put the ball in play. They had pitching, and then we were able to catch the live stream the next night against Wheelersburg, and they had a very dominant pitching performance from a left-hander. Not sure if he's their ace or not, but he was the one that pitched in the finals.
So, as far as the availability, if that's who you see, as far as being able to handle left-handed pitching, dominant, really good left-handed pitching, what kind of goes into that? What's your mindset dealing with, the unconventional left-handed delivery for your guys at the plate?
We've seen some good lefties this year. Huffman from St. Clairsville comes to mind. We saw him once through a full game, and then saw him in a few innings later. We didn't have a lot of success the first time. We did a much better job of putting the ball in play hard the second time, so we just kind of reflect back on that. And then, like today when we went in, it looked like he had the pitcher from Minford had a very good curveball. We put our pitching machine, set it to left-handed curveballs, because none of the coaches are left-handed and could simulate that. So just to try to get the kids to see the break on the ball and be ready for it when we get there.
And as far as your guys' pitching goes, I mean, to win 2 big-time tournament games in low-scoring fashion the way that you did, and then the chance I got to see you guys, I thought Marshall Meade responded very well on the mound against Sandy Valley after giving up a couple of runs, and then Dylan Blonde gets thrown into the game and really puts their offense at bay for you guys to kind of create the separation. Talk a little bit about what you guys have been able to bring out to the mound this year and how it's ultimately attributed to your guys' success.
We feel really good about our pitching depth. Jackson Wiley has been kind of the go-to guy this year. He just throws a ton of strikes and knows how to pitch. I mean, he works the edges of the plate. He doesn't leave a lot in the middle. Not overpowering, but just knows how to get guys out. Marshall has been very good. Dylan coming from the left side, and he's pitched in some big games already. He did last year as a freshman. And again, this year as a sophomore. We've got Cam Carpenter back from injury this week. That's big for us. He's been our one of our go-to relievers. Casey Carpenter, another lefty, has been really good for us. And then another sophomore who has been kind of a very pleasant surprise, Keegan Martin. So we feel like we have a lot of guys that we can go to playing a back-to-back Thursday, Friday, that if we play defense and put the ball in play, I think we give ourselves a good chance.
And, and earlier I asked you about, the seniors and preparing for this moment and preparing for the success that you guys have had this year based off of them being around the baseball program as freshmen. But as they've grown up and have gone through the Barnesville, high school system, they've excelled in a bunch of other sports as well. A lot of football guys that were a part of back-to-back undefeated regular seasons and deep playoff runs. Reese Stephen, obviously, an illustrious wrestling career at Barnesville, and the basketball team too had some success this season. So how much do you think that plays into effect, that you guys have a lot of guys that play other sports and succeed in those other sports that just can come to the baseball season, can come to spring season and just expect to win and know what that winning feeling feels like?
I'm a big believer in success breeds success. I mean, I like our guys to be multi-sport athletes, and they learn different skill sets in different sports that will help them in baseball, but they also just a mentality. Like for Reese to stand on a mat in the middle of the state tournament with that many people watching and perform for 2 years in a row, I don't think any pressure situation in baseball is going to bother him. Duker and Tayson in football have and Casey being a quarterback, they've been in big situations in football. So when we get to the baseball field, they have something to fall back on. And Jackson's just been a competitor in baseball for so long that it just comes natural to him. It's just muscle memory at this point.
And the last question I'll have for you, you guys obviously not the only Ohio Valley team at this point in the baseball season. Indian Creek and St. Clairsville getting set to duke it out against each other in Division II. For our area, how cool is it for you guys to look at Division II and see two other teams? One who that you're very familiar with in St. Clairsville, you guys have played. I don't know how much you've seen Indian Creek, but just for the Ohio Valley in general, to get a couple of representatives at this point in the baseball season with Harrison Central on the run that they made last year. How beneficial do you think that is for the Ohio Valley?
I think it brings a lot of attention to OVAC baseball and in particular Buckeye 8 baseball, which we're joining next year. We just had a tune-up game with Indian Creek on Saturday, and that's what Coach Caudice had talked about. With the Buckeye 8 and really with us joining next year, having 3 teams in it at this point. Harrison last year, St. Clairsville in it consistently, Cambridge making the runs that they have. So I think it speaks volumes to what kind of a good baseball conference the Buckeye 8 is and is going to continue to be.
DJ Butler, head coach of the Barnesville Shamrocks, getting set to take on Minford on Thursday at Ohio Dominican in Division III regional semi-action. Coach, thanks for taking a couple of minutes and good luck this week.